Okay, welcome everyone. As we continue with our learning the different drushes about the intricacies of pigel and puzzle, we are sponsored by Shalom Fogel and family, Lil Nishmis Yaakov Zeben Yudaye, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas Gad, Yosef Ben Sion Ben Yaakov Zev, and for a great Shidduch V'chai, Tzivya Bas Shoshana Gittel. We are learning L'Refur Shalema for Shoshana Bas Adina Chana. We're sponsored by Baruch Ian, Lil Nishmis Yaakov Chaim and Abba, Esther Bas Yona, Avram Ben Shmuel HaKayin, L'Refur Shalema for Liba Bas Anya. We're sponsored by A.B. Spry. We're sponsored by Mark Frankel in loving memory of his father, Yisrael Tzvi Ben Chaim Yeshua Falek, and for the spiritual, emotional, and physical protection for Yeshua Menachem Mendel, Ben Bela, Shendel Rivka. We thank you. We are holding on the bottom of Daf Mem Aleph Amid Beis, the bottom of Mem Aleph Amid Beis, by the two dots, two lines from the bottom. We're still analyzing the question about Rav Meir's opinion, whether one could be mefagel with a chatzi matir. The Gemara wanted to say a very novel idea. Reish Lakish had a very novel idea that even according to Rav Meir, you can't be mefagel with chatzi matir. That if you had only in mind in pigel when you smoked up the kmitza, but you didn't have in mind pigel when you smoked up levina, it would not be pigel. Reish Lakish wants to assert that the opinion of Meir is only that if you did the kmitza of the flour with a machshava pigel and then you did the levona without any machshava, there he says that he had him, we say al das rishaynahu aisa. He has in mind what he thought in the beginning, and therefore it's as if he did the whole matter. But even Rav Meir, Reish Lakish asserts, holds that you cannot be mefagel with chatzi matter. So Gemara says, well, it doesn't seem to fit with what we learned. Meisvei, bamedvar mamurim b'damim anitonin al mizbeach achitzai. By the blood that's put on the mizbeach achitzin, even if you have, since we said one application is sufficient, so there, if you have only a machshava on one of the applications, it's already pigel, because one application is sufficient, according to Beis Hillel. Aval donin anitonin al mizbeach hapnimi, but the bloods that are put on the inner altar and against the paraychis, and in the Kodesh Kodashim, kigayin arba'im v'shalosh shel Yom HaKippurim, the 43 placements on Yom Kippur, we're going to see that I might as well tell it to you now. The cheshbon of 43 is because we bring in a bull and we bring in a sar. Now the bull is done achas l'mala v'sheva l'mata in the Kodesh Kodashim, so that's 8. And achas l'mala v'sheva l'mata against the paraychas, that's another 8, that's 16. Then the same thing is done with the sar, 8 inside and 8 against the paraychis, so that's 16 plus 16 is 32. Then the blood is mixed. The blood of the bull and the blood of the sar is mixed. We'll see there's machlokes about this, but the blood is mixed. And then they put it on the 4 corners of the golden altar and 7 on the surface of the mizbeach. So that's another 11. So 32 plus 11 is 43. So arba'im v'shalosh shel Yom HaKippurim, the achad asar and the 11 shall parkay Mashiach, that's 7 times against the paroiches and the 4 corners of the Mizbeach Zav. V'achad also shall par helam davar shall tzibur, and the 11 of the bull that's brought for an erroneous decision of the court. There, pigel bein b'rishayna, bein b'shniya, bein b'shlishis, whether you had pigel in the first set, the second set, or the third set. At this point, we'll learn the first set is in the Kodesh Kodashim, the second set is against the Paraychas, the third set is on the Mizbeach Hazav. Reb Meir Aimer Pigel, the Chayav and Love Karis. Well, that seems to be the Reb Meir holds it, even if you do just one of them, it's enough. The Chacham say no, since it's all one big matter, Ein by Karis actually Fagel B'chol matter. But it says clearly that Reb Meir holds that even if you do the first set, the second set, or the third set, it's going to be Pigel. Ketani Miha, Pigel, Bein B'rishayna, Bein B'shniya, Bein B'shlishis. So that means that even if he did the first 2, the 8 in the Kodesh Kodashim, and the 8 against the Paraychas properly, and then the 11 on the Mizbeach Hazav, it would be Pigel. So you see that according to Reb Meir, there's Pigel b'chatzi amater. So Ketani Mia, Pigel bein b'rishayna, bein b'shniya, bein b'shlishis, or Polik. So you see, he doesn't only argue about Aldas Rishayna also. So I'm Rav Yitzchak Bar Avin. So Rav Yitzchak Bar Avin wants to explain the Pigel b'shchita. He didn't do Pigel by the blood. When he did the shchita, that's when he had in mind the machshava of Pigel. For example, when he did the shchita, he had in mind to do the smoking up of the sacrificial portions after its time. Now the shchita, which is matter, the blood to be used, the shchita is a self-contained matter, the chad matter. Says Gemara, well, if it's talking about the shchita, then why did the rabbis argue? Yochi my time with the Rabbanan. Says Gemara, no. The Rabbanan here is the opinion of Rebbe Eliezer. Amar Rava man chachamim Rebbe Eliezer. The chachamim are going according to Rebbe Eliezer. The Tanan for Rebbe Eliezer, it says, Hakaymei tzvalavayna v'aktoris u'minchas kahana u'minchas kayim Mashiach u'minchas nesachim. By these materials, the kmitza of a regular mincha, or the levayna, or the ketairis that goes on the mizbeach, or minchas kahanim, which is burnt completely on the mizbeach, minchas kayim Mashiach, the minchas chavitim of the kain gadol, which is also burnt entirely on the mizbeach, minchas nesachim, the mincha that accompanies the mincha of libations, which accompanies karbanis, which was also burnt entirely on the mizbeach. If you offer a kizayis of any of these outside, you're chayiv already for halah b'chutz. Sheikr me'achas me'em kizayis b'chutz chayiv. Rebbe Eliezer poiter, Rebbe Eliezer says it's not enough a kizayis. Rabbi Eliezer holds achiyakov es kulan. You're chayiv only if you do the entire thing. It's not enough to do part. You have to do the entire thing. And therefore, the Gemara wants to say that an avodah which is done with only part of the carbon, so a kazayas, is not considered an avodah. So therefore, if he has in mind when he does the shechita for only a part of the blood, it wouldn't be good, and that would be the reason why. Says the Gemara, but Rebbe Eliezer agrees with the blood that it could be a part of the blood. V'amar Rava Moida Rabbi Eliezer b'damim, that non Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon Aimrim, mi makam shepasak mishamu maskal. The din is, even according to Rabbi Eliezer, that if, let's say, he did the 8 placements of blood in the Kodesh Kodashim, and then the blood spilled. When you shecht another animal, let's say you shecht another par, you don't have to do over the 8 in the Kodesh Kodashim, you continue where you left off. Mimakam shepasak mishamu maskal. So you see, when it comes to the blood, even according to Rabbi Eliezer, you don't need the entire blood. So the Gemara says, forget about that. Anyway, it really isn't mashma. It's talking about the shechita. Forget about that. Scratch that pshat. When Reb Meir says, if he's mefagel with the first one, the second one, and the third one, again, the Gemara, throughout this entire sugya, the Gemara wants to really, like, almost stubbornly maintain that it's possible what Reish Lakish is saying, that even Reb Meir holds that it's only pigel if you have in mind the whole matter. But what does it mean, the first one and the second one and the third one? Says the Gemara, Ela Amar Rava Kigan Shepigel B'Rishayna. When he did the first set in the Kodesh Kodashim, he had in mind machshava to smoke it up chutz l'zmana. V'shasak b'shniya. Then when he did it against the paraychis, he was quiet. He didn't have any machshava. V'chazer upigel b'shlishis. And then when he did it against the mizbeach hazav, he again had a machshava pigel. Now, and the reason why that's considered pigel in the whole matter is because we say that even though he was quiet in the second set against the paraychas, al das rishayna hu'aisa. So what's the chiddush over here? It's a big chiddush. Says the Gemara, Ma'u desema isol kedaitech al das rishayna hu. If you say, well, I had pigel in the first set, and then when I was quiet in the second set, I relied on the fact that I had pigel in the first set. So if you're relying on what you had in mind, then why did you have in mind pigel again by the third set? You should have had him just relied like you did in the second set. I might say, therefore, that maybe he only meant the first and the third and not the middle one, and then it wouldn't be the whole matter. Kamash Malon, according to a mayor, it is. So that would be a good shot, except for a technicality. Maskul Ravashi has a technicality. Midei Shosik Kitani? Does it say? It says, Pigel Bein B'Rishayna, Bein B'Shniya, Bein B'Shlishis. It doesn't say that he was quiet in the second one. You can't fit that in any sort of way. Ela Amar Ravashi, says Ravashi, Hachabamayaskinan. Here now, as Rashi explains, we're going to make it into 4 sets. The first set is in the Kodesh Kodashim. The second set is against the paraychas. The third set is the 4 corners of the Mizbeach Hazav. And the fourth set is the 7 on the Tira of Mizbeach, on the surface of the Mizbeach. And says the Gemara, Alam Ravashi Hakav Mayaskina Kigain Shepigel B'Rishayno B'Shniya B'Shlishis. He was mafagel in the Kodesh Kodashim against the paraychas and on the 4 corners, but he was silent when he did the 7. Ma'u the same isol kedaita kol oisal das rishaynu oisa. If he was relying on what he did before, then why did he have to have it in mind again in the second and the third set? Ma'ad pigule b'chol chada v'chada lamali. Kamash malan, that we say that even so, it's considered that he wanted the 4th set of the 7 times also to be pigel, and therefore that's pigel with the whole matter. Says the Gemara, further technicality, as we turn to Daf Mem Beis Amud Beis. And by the way, this Daf has nothing to do with bums. It's Mem Beis, not because of a bum. It's Mem Beis because we know that that's the mitzvah d'oraisa of learning Torah, v'dibarta bam, as the Welt says that Torah Shebiksav starts with a Beis, Bereshis, and Torah Shebal Peh starts, the first Mishnah in Torah Shebal Peh starts with a Mem, Me'emasai Korin Shema. So that's with Dibar Tabam, Torah Shebiksav and Torah Shebal Peh. So, but V'habein Ketani, it says Bein Berishin, Bein B'Sheni, Bein B'Shlishi. According to you, it's that he had in mind each of the three. Says the Gemara Kasha. Yeah, that's a Kasha. It's a Kasha. Gemara doesn't want to refute Reish Lakish, but that's a Kasha. Amamar, top line. And now it's high time that I welcome in Saba and Eddie Chazan and Yaakov Warman, Irving Fishman, Nachman Chaplin, Mel Zachter, Mo Kushner, Shimon Klein, Rabbi Kranz, Dr. Black, Yitzi Fuchs, Menachem Yemansky, Ben Zion Cohn, Dr. Udell, Shelley Zeitlin, Yisrael Fisher, Marshall Castle, Michal, Moshe Lehman, Berish Gesserman, Yitzi Muller, Abe Arbach, Rabbi Kaniel, Ilya Shupner, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Elia Yaffe, Daniel Rosenberg, and David Helfgott. And here in Shul we have Gedalia Engel back in his post, and Avram Rezepkowitz, Chaim Kramer, Michal Avram Chavin, Danny Vogel, and Ruvain Shanit. We are missing Herschel. Herschel said that he probably won't be here today and tomorrow, and his presence is very missed. We got to get him used to using the computer. We are missing Mark. Where's Mark? Marshall, did you threaten him or something?
Yeah, I told him the Philadelphia Eagles stunk, so he's mad at me.
Anyway.
Ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we accept? It ends with a kasha because it says the first, the second, and the third. Do we accept the position that the third is divided in two? That's now 4 and 7.
Yes.
Okay, that's accepted. Okay.
Now. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה b'dvaro. Amamar. Rameir says, pigel, it would be pigel if, let's say you did the blood inside and had in mind to smoke up the fats after the time, the chayav olav kares. Now the problem is that here you're working within the zrika with different components of the zrika. Now it's true that if you shecht with a machshav of chutz l'zmanai, even though it's already no good, but as long as you do the halacha and the kabbalah and zrika, it's considered that you did everything else correctly. But here, you messed up in part of the zrika. You did the sprinkling of the blood in the Kodesh Kodashim, having in mind to smoke it up after its time. Once you do that, you've disqualified it, and you made the blood like water. So then when you go through the rest of the steps of the zrika, it's like you sprinkled water. How could it become pigel? That's the Gemara's question. Amamar, Rameir Aimer pigel v'chayav olav kares. Michte. Kares lo mechayiv. You never mechayiv pigel achi yikru v'kol matirav until you do everything else correctly. The Amamar, kartzas kosher, just like in order for it to be permitted, you got to do everything else correctly. Kach hartzas puzzle. If you want it to be pigel, you have to do everything else correctly. So that, for example, if you shechted it, but you didn't finish off with zrika, then the meat won't be pigel, even if you had a machshav of pigel, because you didn't finish off the procedure. So ask the Gemara, ma'atzas kasher achi yikruvu kol matirav. You have to do all the steps. Afar tzas puzzle, in order for it to become pigel, achi yikruvu kol matirav. Says the Gemara, v'ha kevan dechasher beibifnim since you had in mind in the Kodesh Kodashim to do it, the Aktara Chutzlas Manai Psula, it's possible, and therefore it's commanded like Adi Dami. It's as if you didn't sprinkle the blood. It's as if you didn't do it properly. So then, Kihoder Made Behechel, when you proceed, it's as if Maya Ba'almahu Deka'adi. It's as if you're sprinkling water. And therefore it's not considered that you are Yikruvu Kol Matirav, and therefore why should it be Pigel? Says the Gemara, yeah, you could have it. You could have it where he did it wrong in the Kodesh Kodashim, but then the blood spilled, and he shechted it, another animal, and they got more blood, and they did it against the Paraichas. Now, in the case where he was then mefagel in the second one, right? Because that's what we said, he was mefagel in the second and the third. So then that blood spilled. So they ended up doing 4 animals. Amarabba mishkachaslo ba'arba parim, with 4 bulls, ubadal sirav, and 4 goats. Rava said, Rava is not bothered by the whole problem. Because Rava says, just like by a regular carbon, when you shecht with a machshava pigel, so then the ensuing kabbalah ilach and zrika are not good anymore. And yet it's enough to make it pigel. So here you're right, the zrika is not good enough. It's not good anymore, because you didn't do the zrika right in the Kodesh Kodashim. But it's enough to make it pigel. Rav Amar afilu tema b'par echad v'sar echad, 1 bull and 1 goat. But lepigel meratz, it's enough. You have to go through the motions. And you went through all the motions. So now, and mute yourself, Barry, although we do notice you, Barry. You are very handsome.
Where are we up to? Rabbi Weiss? I'm sorry I'm late.
I didn't notice.
Thank you.
We are in Bavli.
You will keep quiet.
We are in Bavli. We are in Zevachim. We are on Daf Mem Beis Amid Beis. You should have figured that out already. Bum. And we are holding by Arboim V'Shalosh, which is.
But Rabbi Weiss, I'll have to pick it up on the. I'm very late on YouTube, and it's a check tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'll get the knock, everybody. Take care.
What happened?
You called him a bum, he left.
No, I think because I said we were so into it, he felt it wasn't Kedai.
See, he thinks it's too far behind.
Yeah. This was a good. This was okay. Anyway, the Gemara says that the sum total was Arbam V'Shalosh. The sum total of the bloods of the par and the sar were 43. Let me review that with you again. We did from the par, Achas L'Mala V'Sheva L'Mata inside, that's 8. Achas L'Mala V'Sheva L'Mata against the Paraichas, that's another 8, that's 16. Then we did from the sar, Achas L'Mala V'Sheva L'Mata inside, and Achas L'Mala V'Sheva L'Mata against the Paraichas, that's another 16, that's 32. Then we mixed the blood of the par and the sar together, and we put it on the 4 kronos and 7 times on the surface of the Mizbeach Hazav, so that's another 11. So 32 plus 11 is 43. Says the Gemara, Tanya Arbon V'Sheva. We learned 47, not 43. No problem. There's a machloikis whether they mix the blood before or after they put it on the 4 corners. If they mixed it only after they put it on the 4 corners, so then you did 4 corners of the par, and then 4 corners of the sar, that's 8. 32 plus 8 is 40. And then you did 7 on the surface of the mixture, that's another 7, that would be 47. So as the Gemara says, that they mixed it before they put it on the corners, then it would be 43. So then they put it on first the par on the four corners, then the sar on the four corners. Now that becomes 32 plus 8. Then they mixed it, and then they put the mixture on 7. That becomes 47. We learned 48. Oh, that's no problem. That's going according to Ibn Nehemiah, who holds that even that the remnants that they poured on the side of the Mizbeach HaChitzon is also ma'akiv. So, Vatanya Abba Mishmaina, some gesund. We learned 48. Hakaman Yama Shi'ayim Ma'akvin. One is the man Yama that holds that Shirayim Ma'akiv. Vakaman Yama ain't Shirayim Ma'akvin. So, if the Shirayim are not Ma'akiv, then you only have 47 or 43. If the Shirayim are Ma'akiv, then you have 44 or 48. Now, still we're up to this question of whether a mayor holds that you could be mafaga with a chatzi matter till the end. Meisvei, bamedvar mamurim. When do we say that you could be mafaga in just a handful of flour without the levina? That's b'kmitza, the act of taking the kmitza, because the act of taking the kmitza is only with the handful of flour. So that's a solo matter. B'matan keli, we're putting the kmitza in a klei sharetz, over hilach, and taking it to the mizbech, because these are things that we only do with the flour. So if you have a machshava pigel on it, that is considered the whole matter. Avabaloi lahaktara, but if you come to smoke it up, nasen es hakaimetz b'machshava. If you did the kmitza with a machshava pigel, ves alavoina b'shtika, and the lavoina silently, or you should nasen es hakaimetz b'shtika, or you put on the kmitza silently, ves alavoina b'machshava. So that's pretty clear, because here it says even if you did the shtika first, so you can't say that it's al das rishayna loisa. Still, Ramei Raim a pigel, because Ramei holds you to be mafagal b'chatzi matter, v'chayav olav kares. The Chacham say if you only did it one, aim by kares, ad sheyafagal b'kol matter. There's no kares until you have in mind in the whole matter. Now, Ketani Mia, it's clear. This is proof positive. Ketani Mia, esa kaimitz b'shtika v'esa levayna b'machshava, that you did the kmitza silently, and only the levayna with the machshava pigel. So here you can't say al das mishaynu oisa, because you were silent first. Opalik, and even so, Rameir argues and says it's pigel. So you see, you could have pigel with a chatzi matter. So now the Gemara tries to wiggle. Ema ukvar nosen es levayna machshava. It says, when it says that you did the kmitza b'shtika, it means, and you already did the levayna with machshava. So the levayna was before. Says the Gemara, but then that's the first case. Chad ha'inurashin. Then that's the first case, where it says you were mafagel with the levayna, with the levayna, and you were silent with the kmitza. It's the same case. V'aid, and furthermore, how could you say that it means and you already did the levayna when it says v'akakach, and afterwards? Kasha. So, I don't know, for some reason, the Gemara does not want to say to Yufta, the Reish Lakish, to Yufta. The Gemara.
It's a very big kasha, the one.
Yeah, very big kasha.
It doesn't want to mess with Reish Lakish.
It's really, this kasha is like Gedalia said, this kasha is a pretty big kasha. Now I know that I feel it that Gedalia feels cheated. He says it's 20-9. For this, I had to walk all the way to 2 Valley Street. Well, you also walked for Amei Yishmei Rab. We're going to do the Mishnah Yomis now.